Hey guys, welcome back to the BNB podcast. I have lost the count of what episode this is, but we are not going to talk about what episode this is. Now you see there's a different setup, and there's a reason for that. We'll try to make sure that that's communicated. But yeah, we moved to a different place, and this kind of is going to start growing on us. But anyways, since we're here, how are you, Neil?
Good. New place, new vibe. So,
Yeah, yeah, maybe a week more to set it all up,
oh
and
yes.
then yeah, we should be able to do it in the best possible format.
How about you? How are you feeling now?
I'm way too fucking tired. Yesterday, you know what it was
Yeah,
like. Yeah.
absolutely.
So when I say yesterday, I don't know when this comes out, but today is what, 3rd or 4th August, and yeah. So yeah, whenever you are watching this, of course, by that time we would have settled. So, but if you ask me today, I'm too fucking sloshed. But yeah, getting there.
Yeah,
So guys, today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about service versus products. Like that's what we're going to talk about. Should we start, or is there anything you would want to add to it before we go there?
I think we forgot about intros.
Yeah, yeah. So it's
So,
again
yeah,
that's something that we have to make sure we do. So you want to go first with the introductions?
I think I can. I
Okay.
can try that. All right, guys. This is Neel Patel, and I'm building Sync Signature right now, which is an email signature platform. And we do this podcast every week just to make sure that if somebody is trying to come up with a business or just starting out on the business, we want to make sure that the juice is delivered, and we cut all the noise and try to give you the best possible relevant information which works in 2024. So yeah, I mean, I'm a co-host at Branding and Building podcast along with Harshil. And now over to you, Harshil.
Uh, so I'm Harshil, and I am a designer. I design at Logicwin. That's where we met. And I am one of those kind who's more interested in understanding why to build something rather than simply go about building it. So, in short, I simplify idea validation for people with ideas using the design sprints. So, yeah, that's about me. I'm Harshil. I am a designer, not perfect yet. I won't ever be there, but yeah, just along the way, we're trying to do this podcast, and it's me, Neil, of course, Janki sometimes, who is a part of this. So yeah, I'm a podcaster as well. That's about me. Shall we dive
Amazing.
in?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
As I said, today's topic is service versus product. The idea is to share juicy stuff about what it is like in these two worlds: the world of service-based setup and the world of digital
Product base.
products.
Yeah.
So let me start with this amazing question. You know that I have read a lot about this. I myself have experienced a bit, and of course you have depth of experience around this. What is the difference between a service and a product name?
Okay. So I think there are a lot of differences that we
Yeah.
can talk about, but the major uh, aspect of it, which is client versus customer, that
Mm.
comes into picture. Where if you are in a service business, you should be obsessed about clients, and whether on the contrary, when you are on the flip side, on the product side, you should be obsessed about customers.
Mm.
So that is the main difference I see, like customers versus clients.
Yeah.
Customers have problems, clients have set of requirements. So these are the major two different aspects to it.
Mm.
And if we talk about a little bit on the business side, uh, both the worlds need different mindset as well.
Mm.
So in the product based company, you need to have a mindset of uh, doing everything in a way, while in the service space you should be more skillful in one aspect of it,
Mm.
so that you can deliver on that skill set.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, that is basically a little of the both worlds.
Mm.
Of course, I've been in the industry for a long time in the service sector, uh, very recently in the product based structure, but I do realize that the product based companies require a lot of different uh, problem solving skills in that sense.
Mm.
Uh, Service-based company, on the contrary, has, of course, problems will be there in that case as well.
Yeah.
But I think it's little bit structured in a way.
Mm.
Or on the product side, structure is not there.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised every day
Yeah.
what kind of things will will be thrown at you, and then you have to solve for those. So yeah, quite different in nature, but yeah, that's the major. These are some of the things that I can come up right now.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. According to me, the difference over here, as you rightly said, yeah, services cater to clients and their requirements, while products actually solve problems for a certain set of customers. One clear distinction, I think, is that talking of structure, service based setup, like of course digital service shops are very well structured. They have systems and processes in place so that you kind of get into an environment where you are very much aware about your context, the environment you are operating in, and you know that if something like this happens, what to do when.
Right.
But on the contrary, as you said, products, it's every day is a new day.
Mm.
Every day you're working towards getting to product market fit, that you cannot be bogged down with a certain set of systems and processes in place, which kind of could become hindrance towards product market fit. Of course, when it's time to scale, you will have certain systems and processes coming in place. So yeah, I mean, that is one thing, a clear distinction. And one thing that I also picked up from this book called Build to Sell, it's an amazing book, and started geeking about the book. And one thing that clearly differentiated, like came out to me in a more starking way, was how service-based companies could have cash flow problems every now and then, because of course you're very much focused on delivering value upfront, and the cash flow kind of comes after
Right.
a certain amount of value has been delivered. On the contrary, when you look at products, you have to pay upfront. Like everything that we buy in form of a product, we pay upfront.
Right.
And we recently encountered something with our audio on one of our latest episodes, like 2 to 3 episodes ago. There was a lot of noise because we were in a very uncomfortable situation at that point while we were recording it. And if we would have had a guy who would have fixed it for us, of course he or she is selling a service to fix that audio bit for us. On the contrary, what we decided, we went out searching for a product, and while we wanted the audio fix, and we were in a very desperate situation. We wanted it to be fixed. So well, even before we got the audio, we had to pay for it, and then we got the final output, which is improved audio. So yeah, that's the difference. Yeah, you think products and services in that way.
Right.
Any other thoughts?
I think one major aspect that I can also think of right now is of scalability,
Oh yeah.
which is a big one probably.
Mm.
In the service setup, scalability comes with certain cost as well,
Yeah.
in terms of everything, resources, infrastructure, and everything.
Mm.
While you can be really lean in the setup and really scale the product in the product based companies.
Yeah.
So that this is also one of the thing uh, that can be considered as a potential difference between the two of it.
Yeah.
Like you can really scale on the product side, but in order to scale the same in service
On the service
based,
side of things, yes.
it's a nightmare probably.
Yeah.
So basically, the idea is every time you add a project, after certain point, every time you add a project, you will at least need 4 or 5 additional people to
Yeah.
serve for that project, and then you have to continuously be able to replace that when that client is left.
Yeah.
While on the product side, if you have built a solid product in the beginning, and you have a solid product market fit, you identified a channel which works for you. It could be a paid ad as well. Like if you are able to get $100 out of every dollar spent, just taking random example, then you can actually double down. Like let's spend 1,000, let's spend 10,000,
Yeah.
let's spend
Yeah.
lakhs of dollars in that sense.
To be able to make more. Yeah.
Yeah. So scalability is a lot more in product side rather than service side.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And I guess one last thing before we move on to the next one is, I guess, when you're talking about scalability, uh, I was thinking economics of scale. I guess with product, there's an exponential scalability potential. Like you can do the same amount, you can make the same amount of money with a smaller team, like 10, 15, 20 people. You can make so profit per person, I guess, in a product setup is comparatively higher. uh, on the contrary, in the service side of things, I guess, uh, per person profit is lower, but you can scale a business to a point where you have 200, 300 people doing the same thing in a more structured way. You add in more revenue, increase more people, you add in more revenue. So all right, so let's move on to the next one. The second one is a really good one, and it's about human experiences. You have seen both worlds. I have partially seen one, and kind of living the other through you. So let's say this one, like, what do both of these worlds look like? You've been in the service, you've been in the products. What are the differences? Previously, what we talked about is what is a service and what is a product. These are human experiences. What do these worlds feel like?
So I would start with service. For example, if we talk about service, if you have a skill set, you can actually trade it in exchange for money. That is service, right? So you basically can start a service if you have a skill set, but the same cannot be applied in product. Like you cannot start a product
Because you have a skill set.
yeah, exactly. You need to have that complete domain knowledge, or exactly understanding the problem space
Exactly.
or the people who are facing that problems enough, so that you can actually deep dive into the product world. Or unless if you have, like me, like I have been able to do a lot of different things, variety of things in service based setup, so that I knew what sort of problems are there. I knew what kind of people behind those problems, what are the kind of, since we talked about understanding yourself when starting a business uh, in length, right?
Yeah.
Since that is the core foundation of how you basically approach a business. So I was able to understand like what kind of people who are there uh, that has the problems, right? So we talked about construction based construction industry, we talked about IT industry in
Yeah.
our previous episodes, and I could actually since I was talking with all of these people, I could actually sense that this is the kind of people I want to work with. Or, of course, like when you're trying to solve a problem, you're basically working with those people and help them try solving their
Get
problems.
something done better. Yeah.
Exactly.
In a better way. Yeah.
So you should be able to understand that perspective as well, uh, like for whom you're solving. So that is where the problem solving skills, or the product side of things comes into picture, where on the service side you just have to sell your skills in a way, and you get the work, you do it, you deliver it, and you get money. So that's the core human side of things, I would say, which is in the service based and product based.
Yeah.
What do you think? Like what are your
I mean,
thoughts?
from my perspective, I think in a service setup, as you rightly said, that you have stackable skills,
Right.
and these are micro skills that you acquire in a service setup. I think the best way to acquire skills very fast and to try a lot of things early on while you're just starting out, I guess service is the right setup. It gives you that opportunity, because there are client interactions that you have to figure out. You have to understand requirements that gets translated into something like it is either documented or it's a visually represented to internal stakeholders. There's so much of exchange of information, and there are so many people involved in the process. So what happens is that you really get better at communication, you might really get better at storytelling, you might really get better at marketing, you might really get better at distribution, maybe you might really get better at design, like UX design or UI design. And as you said, while you're picking all of these things up, you identify that what is it that you really like doing, and you might be able to identify, okay, what goes into delivering value, starting from a requirement to something that as a final output is delivered. What kind of challenges and what kind of skills are required to be able to cover the end to end
Right.
of the process. And what can happen is that once you've identified a few things that you really like, and you've acquired and you get better and better at those skills, you can then spin it off as a service, because as you said, you're not necessarily solving a customer's problem. What you're doing is you're selling services in exchange of money. So I guess in that manner, service is really juicy. I mean that is something. I have unfinished business, right? And uh, I am really obsessed about design sprints, and for me that is something I see a really good potential from a service side of things, and it can be productized.
Right.
How exactly, I don't know, and that's what I'm exploring. And that allows me to be really good at storytelling. So now I'm recently geeking about copywriting, understanding how can a narrative be flipped and mapped with an existing worldview of my potential customers who might face this problem or might need help to generate more value or more impact. And that is where I guess people positioning themselves in service setup will really help them either identify a problem, which you did. You were in a service setup. I know you're doing customer success, and you're doing some development work, some
Design.
HR work as well, some business development work, some marketing work. You built websites, maybe deployed them. You've done a lot of these things to then being able to identify what what kind of an individual Neel is, what kind of people you would want to serve through your product.
Right.
So yeah, I guess that's from a service lens. From a product lens, I guess I'm not there yet. I know I have a product in mind, but I don't know what problems exist. What problems does it solve? Or I'm not that great at identifying core human designs and mapping my solution to it.
Right.
So
So
I
you're
guess
getting there,
yeah, I'm getting there. I'm on that journey. So from my lens, this is how this worlds look like. Products, uh, I am very fascinated about wanting to have products. I'm saying it products because plural. I am not going to be satisfied with one as well.
Right.
So that's why the whole pain. And I guess what we, even before starting this, like recording this, we were talking about how painful it is, like to get to a point where product is scalable and it generates a ton of value, like in terms
Right.
of money and value to your customers. That could take a long time. On the contrary, services, it can it can start giving you return instantly.
Right, absolutely. So basically, like that, just you start a service.
Yeah.
If you are looking to earn money right away,
Yeah.
and if you have a skills that you can exchange, you can start directly, right?
Mm.
You can just go out with the skill set. You see who needs it,
Yeah.
and then you just exchange it
Yeah.
with your skill set. On the contrary, you on the product side, you have to start from scratch. You have to understand the domain. You have to understand the pain points. You come up with something. You cannot just. You probably don't have a product, right?
Yeah,
On the
yeah,
first day,
yeah.
you would probably
Don't
not
have
have a
product,
product.
yeah.
So a lot goes into the product space, and then you eventually start to get the benefits of it in terms of monetization as well. Like if we talk about sync signature, we haven't like figured out a great monetization model as well, right? We're still figuring it out. We know we can go into this direction, this that, but we'll still continue to serve on the generalized purpose and see what are the use cases that our audiences can resonate to and where we can distribute better.
Yeah.
And then we'll probably choose on a direction. So we are not there yet.
Yeah.
It's been 8-9 months in the business
Journey, yeah.
already, and all of the co-founders still are coming from service industry, knows the problem pain points very well, knows what to do, how to do it. Everything is known. Still, we are
Yeah.
figuring it out. So it's still gonna take time, right?
Yeah, of course.
So product is a long term game in
Mm.
that sense. The
Mm.
service is probably not that long term. If you know a skill, you can just trade it for money.
Yeah.
So you trade your hours in exchange of money. That's the service game.
Yeah. Yeah.
While on the product side, you have to
Deliver value.
deliver
Yeah, and
value
the
and
returns are exponential.
exponential,
Yeah.
scalable, exponential,
Yeah.
but it will take time.
Mm.
So you have to keep that in mind.
Yes. Yes. One thing I would like to also add is that in service setup, as I said, that you experience a lot of industries, you get to do a variety of things, and early on it might be really juicy, like while you are stacking a lot of skills, but after one point I think that while systems and processes start putting in, coming in picture, and there are certain way a certain problem needs to be encountered, then what happens is that systems take more priority compared to the problems or the innovativeness
Right.
of the setup, I guess, because then, like it's very natural, like you when you so I recently heard on one of this podcasts that I listened to, like if you are competing against a giant, like if Sing Signature, if it's competing against a giant of a product, you know that you are in an advantageous position because it's now sitting with a customer base of maybe 20-30,000 people, out of which 10 to 20% pay them a lot of money, and now for them to change directions is going to be really difficult.
Absolutely.
On the contrary, that's your advantage.
Right.
So the same is with service as well. Early on, of course, you get to do a lot of this batshit crazy stuff, but after one point, what will happen is that you'll crave those things. Of course, it gives you more stability, but you'll start craving those things because human mind is designed to ideate and
Right.
create, solve problems. So I guess flip side, products allows you to do that. Every day is a different problem, every phase is a different problem. Starting on, it's about idea validation, then it's having a team together, small team, making sure that you're not burning a lot of money before, and before you get to a point where you are at a product market fit scenario. And a lot of startups fail because they have that money problem. They run out of that runway to be able to reach there. Once you have reached product market fit, then you have to think retention, then you have to think whatnot. So I
Exactly.
guess that is something that it's really important to keep in mind.
Right, rightly said. Like, product side, you have to be frugal. You have to have a team of people who knows multiple things and
Yeah.
not just one thing. Like,
Mm.
I don't see a point where I would hire somebody for a skill set right now because
You
it
don't have
doesn't
that
make
luxury
sense.
and you don't want one.
Exactly,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. So it's just everybody who is like, jack of all trades and master of none kind of situation where uh, people should know a lot of different things,
Mm.
and they should be able to have that mindset of solving problems
Yeah,
every day.
yeah,
So that is what is required on the product side.
yeah,
Otherwise, you won't. And most importantly, you need to have patience. You cannot have it like, we've been building this feature. Uh, like developers, especially developers, they struggle with this
mm.
because you are building something and then sometimes it happens that it's not required, so we may have to you
Yeah.
know
Ditch it.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we may have to just remove that completely, or in order to make other things simpler, may have to remove that, or we may have to tweak a lot of
Mm.
things.
Mm.
So on the contrary, service side, you have certain things in place. You have processor, you have documents of
Yeah.
sorts, and things are written, well maintained in a
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
Here in the early stages, it's all messed up,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
We may not even have wireframes for certain things. We just have that, change this button color, this, that. On the
yeah.
service side, you don't have that, we at
Ambiguity,
least,
I guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And
Mm.
developers can have certain things. Of course, I cannot say they would be working peacefully because they
Mm.
have variety of projects there.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
would be working on one, two, three, four, five things at the same time.
Mm. Mm.
On the contrary, on the product side, you might be working on the single thing, but there might be you know, complex things happening.
Hmm.
You might break a lot of stuff and, you know,
Yeah.
redo a lot of stuff. So all of that keeps happening. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Uh, I guess yeah, that would be
good.
a good way to move into the next one.
Yeah,
Okay, so as you guys notice, I'm doing it with a phone because I don't even know where are the pages. So, uh, okay, moving on to the next one. Just a quick thought on what to do when. Like,
Hmm.
is there a way to, from your experience, from what I have been experiencing so far, is there a way we can communicate it to the people listening to this,
Hmm.
that how do you identify what to do, like how to choose between service and product?
Right. I feel the best way is, like, first question is like, when do you want money? Simple. Like,
Yeah.
if you are looking to make money right now, right
Mm.
away, product is not for you
Yeah.
because it will take time.
Mm.
Nobody is going to just give you a product in your hands
Mm.
and say, you know, start selling. Or maybe you may have audience as well.
Mm.
Let's assume that you have audience, you have product. Then also it's gonna take time.
Mm.
While on the service side, you probably, if you have a skill set, you can just go right into it and find some customers, and, you know, they can right away give you projects based on whatever, like, portfolio or work
Yeah.
showcase that you have. You can just simply go about doing it,
Monetizing it. Yeah.
monetize it.
Yeah.
And on the product side, you must have, you know, skill
Yeah.
set, a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, we are not there yet.
Yeah.
uh, at the same time, I won't, I cannot describe somebody who can do it on day one. Like,
Mm.
it's
Mm.
not possible.
Yeah. I guess when you talk products, like when we spoke the word monetization, and that's how in products as well, the metrics, especially there are four growth levers, and it's, the monetization one comes last.
Last,
So you,
exactly.
you focus on acquisition first, and then you focus on activating
Activation.
them, then you focus on engaging them and retaining them, and then once you have this cycle repeated for 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 people,
Mm.
customers, then you think, okay, now maybe let's start figuring monetization out.
Right.
So as Neil said, monetization, if you're looking for money, if money is a need right now, I guess service is a good way to start. And if you think that you can manage both,
Mm.
then of course think productization, like think products is going to come in with the money, with products is going to come in late. So
Right.
yeah, I guess that is something. And one thing, while we were talking, I realized that it's also about the enjoyable factor.
Mm.
You know, with services, you can be more explorative in
Mm.
nature. So
Mm.
if you are someone who's more explorative in nature, who likes doing a lot of things, trying new things, I guess service is really good,
Mm.
because that you can plant yourself in environments that so for example, a company who is really design first, you can plant yourself there if you're exploring UX design right now, or graphic design, or any form of creative or production side of things. Like
Mm.
production, I'm talking content as well, I'm talking everything that goes into delivering an experience in the most aesthetic manner as possible.
Right.
Once you start getting interested or disinterested in that, you start acquiring new set of skills, you can plant yourself in an environment which requires that sort of a skill, or you can start giving those services to someone else. And I guess that's something that people who are really explorative in nature can do. So then service is the game. If you're someone who can do one thing and stick to something with a lot of resilience and patience,
Mm.
to be able to embark on a journey that is highly ambiguous,
Mm.
highly uncertain, and you don't know, you're not associating yourself with an outcome, I guess product is the journey.
Right.
Is that safe to say?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
And uh, high risk, high reward.
Yes, high risk,
So
high reward. Yes.
product side, you may have high risk, but rewards can be exponential
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
that sense.
Mm.
And I can, like, in my mind, I can think about width, versus depth.
Yeah.
Depth is product and width is
Yes.
basically
Yes.
service. So
So
basically,
T-shaped. Yeah. Amazing.
exactly.
Amazing. Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
way,
So yeah.
I think one should start with service so that they get to understand the
The whole
domain or the
ecosystem as a whole.
ecosystem better,
Hmm.
and then maybe product can be a thing
Yeah.
later on.
Yeah.
Uh, but it could be different as well. Like nowadays, we see people jumping directly onto products and doing great there as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah.
that can be a case as
Like,
well.
yeah, if you, I mean, if there are so many things involved, like it's not only product services,
Mm.
there are many micro things, what goes under building a product, what happens while setting up a service shop. So there are so many other things as well. And as you said, like, of course, there are people who directly start with product and do really great. So, but if you look at history, I guess
Yeah,
you try to be a generalist first,
yeah.
try to capture, explore as many uh, verticals as possible, and then try to really go deep into one.
In product setup, at least since we are just starting right now,
Yeah.
every stage or every phase is
Hmm.
different in a
As
way.
exciting and different. Yeah.
Yeah, so problems will be different at least. Even if you have find your PMF, after that also journey is different.
Yeah. The
Your
scaling is
scaling,
different. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for certain side of things, for example, development or the
Hmm.
product or the core product will remain the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
So from the development experience or something like that, you may have to do the same. But at the
Hmm.
same time, you have work-life balance in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to worry about thousand things that's on
Hmm.
your plate.
Hmm.
You're just worrying about one thing.
Yeah, the context switching doesn't happen, and
Exactly.
you
Oh
are
yes.
very well aware of what needs to be done. You're not.
Right.
There are chances in a service setup where you might be doing three to four things. You're on a stricter timeline, deadline, and something or the other could
Yeah.
go wrong, and yeah, it could also mess your mind in different ways.
I remember the stress I had back in the days. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like
Yeah.
you're switching projects, switching contexts all the time,
Yeah.
and that may not let you be in the flow state, and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
cannot be in the depth.
Especially with the lifestyles today,
Yeah.
like if you're attention deficit, like I don't know how difficult it will get to stick to
Yeah.
one thing, and in that case when you're doing four different things, man, god save you.
Makes
Okay.
sense.
uh, so let's try to wrap it up with one final thought. uh, I have something written for us, and what I'd like to ask, that what matters eventually, like this is a very subjective and personal take. What matters to you eventually, products or service?
I am a guy who is always obsessed about disproportional rewards.
Hmm. Hmm.
uh, Eventually products is something that I would go after because of the nature of exponential rewards,
Yeah.
and that's what I have always chased, and that's what have made me switch from the service based company to thinking about starting a product based company.
Hmm.
And that's what I've been chasing. I will chase because
Yeah.
eventually that's gonna that's gonna be the game I want to play. So definitely that is what I'm looking for. But of
Hmm.
course, uh, I think the packaging can be different in a
Hmm.
way.
Hmm.
So products can be packaged in the context of services,
Yeah.
and you can basically I think you can describe it better because you have consumed a lot of stuff on that. But I think I'll let you do the talking on the service or the productized services.
Yeah. And that has been an obsession for me, and it is a really healthy obsession, to be very
Yeah.
honest. And I want to stick to that as much as possible. For me, product wins.
Mm.
That is my subjective take, because of the same thing that you said. I would want to reach to a place where uh, I go through as much as ambiguity and uncertainty as possible, but after I have taken that amount of that amount of, if I've put that amount of work and I've taken that journey to reach there, after that, I guess, as you said, disproportionate returns, exponential returns, I guess I am chasing that as well, and especially with prioritization of two services that I have in mind, which I am actually trying to capture every possible skill set to be able to get that product packaged really well and present it to my potential users
Right.
or customers.
Customers.
And I think that for a service, in a service setup, if someone is watching this, listening to us, in a service setup, it's not that you cannot reach two products. There are so many people, especially designers I follow, there are design agencies who have reached to a point where they have productized services.
Right.
So, Christo, he runs the Future, he has his own design agency. The Future sells, like, his setup is mostly educational content, and he's selling everything possible: a course on copywriting, a course on design, a course on design thinking, a course on YouTube, a course on YouTube thumbnail, name it, and Christo is doing it. A course on even how to sell your services, a course on how to even productize your services. So, and he's doing it at scale. So I can that's possible. Agent Smart. It's I mostly speak this word like at least 10 times in my head and 20 times to people I interact with. They have done it in the most amazing way. They have taken design sprints, which is a recipe, and they have productized it. They're a service based setup, but they run design sprints and only design sprints. So it's a productized service. So I guess for a service to be a productized, there are only two things: uh, the value that it stands to deliver, like a service, how valuable it is, and how teachable it is.
Right.
If a service, like, if you don't have anything right now that is extremely valuable and extremely it is really uh, high probability that it can be taught to someone, you have to start doing it. You have to start acquiring those skills that will allow you to do that.
Right.
So I think that there are two things in my mind, and I guess it can be taught. I know how to do it, but I exactly don't know how to communicate it in terms of value.
Right.
So it's an unfinished business for me. So yes, products win, and I want to have a service-based setup which is selling productized services. So yeah, I mean, my subjective take: it's possible to be in a service setup and run products.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And anyway, like uh, the two things that comes to my mind. One is like one of the juiciest thing that happened to me on Twitter. Like I came across one of the products and then I subscribed for it or something like that, and then
Yeah.
I want uh, an a subscription of that or something.
Yeah.
And I told you about that, right? One day design sprint. That was
Yes,
also one of
yes,
the
yes. It's a
productized
productized
service.
service. Yeah, yeah.
One day design sprints. How cool is that? I was like amazing. Like,
Yeah, and we follow these two people, right? Robert and I don't
oh
know
yes,
other guys. Fletch
yeah,
PMM.
yeah,
If you look them up, that's what they are doing. They do your one page landing page copy for a certain amount, and that's the only thing they do. There's no custom services to that layer.
right,
It's that's it. It's a service. It's copywriting is the service. Restructuring landing pages for products who are gearing for product market fit. It's their service,
right,
but they have productized it. And there's a fixed amount, and this is what they'll do. And so that's what products are. It's really clearly defined that this is a product. If I buy this for this amount, this is what it will do for me. There's no custom request to it.
Right.
So yeah.
makes sense.
Okay, I guess we've rambled enough, and
Yeah.
we want to keep it short. And I guess any more to it will dilute the essence of what we've talked, I think.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. Any final thoughts before we close this?
No, I think good end to a good discussion,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
And since we are still sinking in on this place, I think
Yeah.
a lot of things are like that also. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
we should probably
Yeah, we
conclude
should
now.
close it. Yeah. Okay. So where can people find you online, Neil?
On LinkedIn, and on Twitter and on Product Hunt. All of these places I'm trying to get noticed.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we do, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm active on. And
Amazing.
what about you?
Well, people can find me on LinkedIn, especially distributing everything that is the aftermath
Oh
of
yes,
this episode or all the episodes we've done so far. So active on LinkedIn. People can find me on Product Hunt as well. Now I'm starting to, get into the groove of Product Hunt. So yeah, there, and I hope by the time this comes out, I would want, as in it's an then it's a early call out to that fact that then people would be able to find me on the harshilpatel.com as well. So by the
dot
time
com
it
or dot in?
.patel.com will be live by the time this comes out.
Right. And I always find you on every Friday morning in Substack.
On Substack, yes, yes, on Substack.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, folks, that's all from us. Have a good one. Peace.